You know, some stories don't start with a fight. There's no screaming, no doors slamming. This one. This one started with a quiet little execution, delivered with a single tap on a glass screen. An 8-year marriage just ended in a text message.
10 words. That's all it was. No warning, no explanation, just this casual command that turned a home into a cold war. And this is the story of how he dealt with it. Welcome to my channel, Her Warning.
He just stared at the screen, you know? His brain couldn't quite catch up with something so brutal. He kept thinking, this has to be a joke. But his wife, she wasn't the joking type. No, this wasn't humor. It was a declaration. It was a line drawn in the sand of a marriage that had been quietly bleeding out for years.
He really thought it was just a phase. You know how it goes. The affection starts to leak away, the distance grows. He told himself, oh, it's just life, it's stress from work. The kind of stuff that hits every marriage, right? But she saw it completely differently. For her, that wasn't a phase. It was a green light to change the rules of the entire game.
So that night, he didn't confront her. He didn't beg for an explanation or demand to know why. He just lay there, in their cold, hollow bed, staring up at the ceiling, while the silence just got louder and louder. And for the first time, he didn't try to fix it. He just made a decision. Okay, let's deal with it then.
The change in him wasn't some big storm. It was more like a shift in the tide. It was quiet, it was surgical, and it was absolute. He stopped asking if she wanted dinner. He stopped checking in. He just stopped chasing the ghost of the woman he used to know. And look, it wasn't about not caring anymore. It was about finally getting it. You just can't force someone to value your presence. With all this newfound distance came this terrible clarity. He started to pay attention. Not for revenge, just to understand. And once he really started looking, oh man, the red flags were everywhere, just waving in the silence that she had created. It started with the little things, a new perfume that would hang in the air long after she'd left for another one of her late nights at the office. Her phone became like this third arm, always angled just so, its screen a secret she guarded with her life. But the real poison, that was in the whispers. Her best friend, Tessa, was suddenly always there, and their hushed conversations in the kitchen became the soundtrack of his betrayal. And then he heard it. He was standing in the dark at the bottom of the stairs, and he heard his wife and her best friend celebrating his pain. They were actually treating his emotional withdrawal not as a result of her cruelty, but as some kind of lesson he needed to learn. It was all a calculated game of control. That was the exact moment he realized this wasn't about love anymore. This wasn't a failing marriage. This was about power. She actually thought she could weaponize affection, that he would just crumble and beg for scraps from her table. But he wasn't playing her game anymore. Not a chance. He absolutely refused to be a pawn in her game. If she was going to be the queen, ruling from a throne of lies, then he would become the knight, patient, strategic. He met her coldness with his own. He met her silence with his observation. And every late night, every whispered phone call, it all just became another piece of a puzzle he was slowly and very meticulously solving. You know, the truth, when it finally came, it wasn't from a hidden camera or some hacked phone. It was just a casual remark from a coworker, a story about a cool rooftop sushi spot and a woman in a green dress. The green dress, the one she wore when she wanted to be seen. And guess what? She wasn't alone. With the truth now locked firmly in place, that Cold War was about to turn hot. But his first move, it wasn't against his wife. No, it was against the one who had been pouring gasoline on the fire all along. He confronted Tessa, not with anger, but with this quiet, measured calm that was honestly way more terrifying. He just laid out her manipulation, her role in feeding his wife's ego, and he just watched that smug confidence completely drain from her face as she realized, oh, he saw everything. He let her talk. He let her spin her whole web of lies. And when she was done, when she had implicated herself beyond any shadow of a doubt, he showed his hand. Not a shout, not an accusation, just the quiet click of a button on his phone. He had his ace in the hole, an undeniable recording of her deceit, all ready for the final showdown. So when his wife finally did confront him, accusing him of threatening her good friend, he was ready. Her whole story started to crumble the second he revealed his evidence. "You're twisting it," she stammered.
But there was nothing left to twist. There was only the truth and the sound of her own friend's voice betraying her.
He just laid it all out, one crushing truth after another. The recording, the coworker, the green dress, and the man with the Rolex. And then, the final, fatal blow. He'd already met with a lawyer. The divorce papers were being drawn up. Her entire world, this thing she'd built on lies and ego, it just collapsed in a matter of minutes.
And in that moment, he saw something flicker in her eyes. It wasn't love. It wasn't even remorse. It was the cold, hard panic of a puppeteer whose strings have all just been cut. She had lost control, and without it, she was nothing. I mean, think about it. She stopped being the partner who had his back, so he stopped being the man willing to beg for her attention. Intimacy isn't just physical, right? It's choosing someone day after day. In the end, she chose her ego. He chose his peace. Which really leaves a final question for all of us. What did he really lose?
Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to Her Warning for more true stories like this one. And hey, like and share if you believe the truth always comes out in the end.